All right, it is Monday, January 26th. Let's do this. So we'll start with gold. Another wild day for metals. I mean, look, we're just looking at a weekly candle chart. So gold was printing a new historic high. Officially, according to the stock chart, steel new historic high was 5107. Gold did cool back though, settling up $33, 0.7% to 55,021. But that is, of course, yeah, the first ever daily close above 5K. You can argue we're overbought, but we've been mostly overbought for maybe 50% of the time since what? Early 2024. I mean, yeah, you can argue we have a little spiky candle right now. It's not red. Maybe we'll get another bullish pennant forming, you know? Maybe we'll get a week or two cooling, maybe. But uh again, the week is young. Got to be bullish gold midterm. Moving on, silver. New historic high, according to stock charts, 109.31. Although that again, I'm very skeptical of stock charts because they often change the bloody numbers a couple of hours after the market closes. So these numbers could change. But in any case, new historic high, and yeah, the candle's pretty spiky. Gotta wonder about that. But again, that candle was spiky. These two were more consolidation. That was the last real proper consolidation now. Back when back when silver was 54 and then cooled better part of $9 or so. It's a hell of a thing, right? Again, I'll reiterate that if you believe it's a matter of time now, whether it's February or March or not until further out. Gold 6,000 in theory will equate to silver at 200. Then the question would be, okay, what if gold is 7,000 before by year end? And it looks, I mean, in theory, gold would be, well, some of these crazy targets are starting to look realistic. Like, there's people out there talking about 300, 400, close to 500. But again, we got to expect some retracements here and now and then. That's an interesting candle. Let's just jump to GDX whilst we're on the subject of the miners. Yeah, look at that. So we have a big black candle on GDX, which did print a new historic high of 112. Cooled back 5%. So it was up 5.5% in the morning, but almost 90% of those gains were eroded. And you got to think, hey, look, we could cool back all the way to 95, but that's only where it was 2 weeks ago. Again, yeah, the real question is, do you believe in gold 6,000 or 7,000 later this year? And you have to, really. Let's just go through some names. Because I know your attention span is about 5 seconds. It's probably even less than that these days. YouTube tells me how weak your attention span is. It's kind of disturbing. Let's fly through some of these. So Apple's up 3%. Looks like we have a secure low from 243. Earnings Thursday, bullish. Archer Aviation down 5%. Sporadic. I will say price action relative to JOBY is a real mess. JOBY has better price structure. Agnico Eagle, near strike high at 0.4%. American Eagle, testing the 50-day. If the buyers are going to appear, this is kind of where we would expect them to come in. There is a tight, actually, it's not marked on here, but there's a gap that goes all the way across to 21. So most bearish short-term case is we get a little brief washout to the 21s. Anyway, less majestic silver, new historic high, 27.90. It did see most of those gains erode, so only up 1%. But again, these black candles for the miners are generally not. Well, I mean, they play out, but only for a day or two. That, for instance, there's a black candle. It was red briefly, and then bam, bam, bam. Right? Not great. AMD. I think that was a black candle on Friday, so down 3%. Just sporadic cooling in semicons. Amazon down 0.3. I did see that Kramer was touting buy Amazon in the morning, and naturally Amazon settled down 0.3%. Earnings are next week. Barrick Mining near historic high 53s. Again, like the sector, it cooled back. It's a pretty big black candle. I mean, but again, you see here in September, late September, early November, all it could do, right, when it maxed out. See, look at this little gain here, smashed up, and it got stuck, and all it did was to consolidate before going off again. $100 later this year. Boeing earnings are due early Tuesday, which should be okay. The stock is short-term vulnerable though. It's cooling back, and look at this. Look at this. This bodes a problem for early Tuesday for Boeing. So, if I had to guess, Boeing will be down early Tuesday. The Barber, down 1%, reversal candle, bullish for Tuesday. I'm just going to skip through some of these I just don't care about. Kimiko, new historic high, but it did have a full downside reversal. Bearish engulfing candle, bearish for early Tuesday. At Cleveland Cliffs, early upside, but a full downside reversal, partly impacted by earnings from Steel Dynamics. So it's down 7%, bearish for early Tuesday. Coinbase down another 1.5%. Again, orange gap is basically filled. Deckers up 1.3%, 101. Earnings are Thursday after hours. I'm looking for an upside break. Endeavor Silver, near strike high, but it did another miner that settled down for the day. Now, Freeport McMoran, near historic high at 1.3%. I've just remembered I got a bit of paper next to me with my notes on for this video, which I haven't even referenced yet. Before I forget, let's just type in a few tickers that a few people will have an interest in. IREN. So IREN was down 7.6%. No news. You could even argue short-term structure is a bull flag. Earnings, I think, yeah, earnings are next Thursday and after hours. I think it's not this Thursday, right? Oh, I can't remember. I think it's next Thursday. Anyway, um, bullish 65 looks realistic. Moving on from that one. Google had a positive day at 1.6%. Home Depot, look, it's just, look at that. It's just, look at the way it bounces off the 10 of May, like it did on Friday. We're going up. Heckler. Okay, wow. New historic high, 34.17, but it did settle down 5.8% to 29.97. That's a big bearish engulfing candle. That is a scary candle. That's a problem. That is a problem. Intel down 5.7%. Not a surprise. I called this one. Daily momentum settled fractionally positive and will probably tick down for another, probably at least 2 to 3 days, maybe 4 or 5, getting us into early February. So we're gonna see momentum probably level out somewhere around here. But it's gonna take a few days. Again, basic target 50-day. If that doesn't hold, then there's a lot of support around 36 to 35. So We could see a floor around here before resuming upwards, and there is an upside gap now. So you have an upside gap that goes all the way to the 54s. I need to mark that gap on now. JOBY down 4.5%. No news. Set to test for 200-day tomorrow. JP Morgan trying to floor from the 200-day. KKR had a rough day, down 2%. Today's candle is spiky from this big threshold. The bold will be buying this. I personally will not be. Kinder Morgan just a little bit of chop after. It's mostly consolidation after this big run from 26 to 30, which for Kinder Morgan is a big move. Cree, up 0.5%, don't care. LEU, yeah, the nuclear stocks were just down. Lockheed Martin down 1.5%. Lockheed has earnings early, I think, yeah, Thursday morning. Could come down a few days, but who would dare short a defense stock? Meta Platforms, fourth day higher. Clearly, look, this is 600 from last week is a kilo. We're now pushing against the 200 day. Daily momentum turned positive on Friday. It's more positive today. It's probably going to tick up into the end of the month. So you could think maybe basic target 690 to 700 on earnings, which are due Wednesday. So yeah, 690, 700 for earnings Wednesday afternoon. MP Materials, like many of the miners, had a downside, had a bearish engulfing candle. Bearish for early Tuesday. Microsoft, a third day higher. Momentum will turn positive at the Tuesday open. So basic target is around what? 489 to 491. 491, 492. Yeah. Bullish Microsoft. Micron just calling back. Can't go up every day. A lousy performance here by Netflix, down 0.5%, 85s. Are the 81s a secure low? I don't think so. I think they're going to be taken out. If they take it out, then, we're looking at somewhere between 75 and 70 within March, February or March. I mean, I would accept it's oversold, but it's been relatively oversold since it was around, what, 90, 97 or so. So, it dropped $16 whilst being oversold. So another $16 would get you to 70. Nike, which fired 775 people today, and are going to replace them with AI. I still think this has got to break up above 70. Decker's earnings are due Thursday after hours, which gives a possibility we'll get to maybe test 69 to 70 Friday. Or maybe next week. It doesn't really matter. Nvidia down 0.5%. Chop, chop, chop. I do expect a new historic high sometime. Oklo just downward as sector. Ondas, again, just cooling back. Down 8%. Momentum's on the low end. It's got a floor pretty soon. I like Ondas. Look, if you, it's like, look, if you didn't like it at 15, also, look at this. This is textbook. Look at all these spikes. Look at them all. They're everywhere. These are sell signals. These are basically saying bulls are exhausted. Bulls are exhausted. And then down we go. Look at these spikes. There they are again over there. And a floor spike. There's a floor spike there. So yeah, short-term bearish. If only another day or two. Maybe we'll come and maybe floor around $10. Don't care about that garbage. Occidental. Downside reversal, but nothing I care about. Pan American, new historic high, 69.99. But it did cool back a lot, right? It cooled back almost, well, $5. Black candle, bearish for Tuesday. Palantir, chop. PayPal, chop. Don't care about that one. Red Cat, again, another drone company. Just cooling back, that's all it is. I will say momentum's prone to turning negative on Wednesday. So the cautious will not be buying for at least a couple of days. Don't care about Transocean. Rocket Lab down almost. Look, it might not seem like a big candle, right? But that's 9.5% in a day. No bad news. It's just cooling back. So it's come back. It's come down from 99.5 to $80. It's down. It's basically down about what? 19% or so in a week. Think about that. 19% in a week. So where's it gonna floor? In theory, another day or two down, maybe leveling out Tuesday, Wednesday. Pretty actually Wednesday, Thursday. SMR down almost 7% in the 18s. In my view, that's a buy. My target remains for 200 day at $30. Now, is that going to happen in February? It might happen in late February, but if not, well, there's always March. So you just need to see it, But it's on the low end. Target down 3.8%. The market was somewhat concerned about the fact that the CEO or somebody in the company is um, making political comments. So this is a problem. We broke below the key price threshold, and there's no support down to the 50-day around 97. Although even before today, though, right? Even before today, we were rolling over. So short-term bearish. Tesla down 3%, but really it's mostly a broad chop fest. Take two, chop. You can argue it's just consolidating the 2 days of gains. United Airlines flat. Uranium Energy just leaning back with the miners. And here we go. United Health officially settled down 1.3% to 351. However, there was news in after hours that Trump is proposing that Medicaid or Medicare, I don't know which one it is, whatever, some government policy where they want to maintain the rates that Medicare, Medicaid, or actually hold steady the rates at which Medicaid pays insurers. So, with concerns about margin compression. Um, so in after hours, United Health is down around 9%, around 320, which would take out that low, basically gets it back down to here. So it's not a disaster, but clearly Trump has whacked the sector with a simple proposal. Again, keep in mind earnings are due tomorrow morning. So, but of course, now that it's down 10% in after hours, whatever earnings are tomorrow, um, you could even start to wonder if we're going to come back down to orange gap before we floor, because this was never filled. The orange gap goes down all the way down to around 275 ish. But yeah, again, that's how the market is, right? The news never stops, and you never know when Trump might say something that will upset the cart. Uh, Exxon, new historic high, 136.94. But even the energy stocks also saw a downside reversal. Exxon, it only settled fractionally down, but still, that's a bearish engulfing candle that leans bearish for tomorrow. All right, anything else I need to cover? Not really. What do I want to end on? Silver weekly or maybe a monthly. Look at that. I mean, you can certainly argue this is wildly overbought, right? be it on a monthly. See, on a monthly, this is wild, right? January, silver is currently, again, I'm suspicious that this bloody number is going to change within the next hour or two. Even though it's an end of day chart, stock charts keep messing around with things. But currently, according to this, silver's net high for the month by $33.90, which is 48% in a single month. Look at the size of this candle. These candles are getting bigger. What's the next candle be? What is the Feb? Would it be crazy? And this is what I'm thinking now. Gold looks like it wants to go to 6K, straight to 6K. If gold was to go to 6K, silver's got to go to $200 in theory, based on the relative increase between gold and silver. It's wild times. Anyway, I should go. Um, I'm rather despondent about the fact that anyway, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Maybe none of it will matter tomorrow. We'll see. Don't expect me to appear in early morning, but might appear mid morning. Guess it depends. We'll see. I do wish you a good Monday evening, and yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. Be good.